Now we are on. Welcome to
Oh,
the first broadcast of this channel in English. I'm receiving here my good friend, Charmaine, which is one of the most experienced and knowledgeable international relations analysts we have here. So it's my pleasure to receive you to talk about this very dense subject. Welcome. Thank you. And please feel
thank
free
you.
to introduce yourself the way you prefer.
Thank you so much, Luis, for the introduction. Thank you for the invitation for sure, for being here, having me in your channel, which is polemic, right? You have some delicate issues, objectives that we have been discussing, and now bringing another one. So, I'm Charmaine Alves. I am in Campo Grande, Mato Grosso do Sul, Brazil. I'm an international relations analyst and a trader, which I work with it for around 12 years. And I've been developing on my channels, my digital channels, about the international relations and concerns about Brazil and concerns about worldwide. And China has been one of the targets that we have recently receiving so many news, good ones, not good ones, and we are here to discuss one of the, I believe, one of the most polemic subjects that we have so far from China as well.
That's true. Well, as we scheduled our meeting, the Chinese government saw that and just suspended the lockdown in Shanghai. They saw and said, no,
Yes.
I will suspend the lockdown just because they want to talk about it. Anyway, we are not happy enough because as for today, we have 260,000 TUs stuck in Shanghai port. That's a lot. That's 260,000 20-foot container. That means a huge backlog, a huge situation. And I'll start the polemics by saying that the Chinese government was a specialist in providing one crucial thing for the international trade development that was security. So we knew it was safe to be held in business with China and inside China. We had a very secure perception of the business allocation, the way it works, the factories. They were approaching, learning, and improving their own English. So it was very friendly environment to do business with China. And now I think the perceptions are being changed. I think we are seeing what a dictatorship looks like when it comes to their political interests. And I don't think we will ever feel very safe again like we were before. And this, in my opinion, can change the business environment we will face nowadays. And I don't think the world will be as it was before. So I would like to know what's your perception on this issue, and if you think this is a good opportunity for the regional development of global trades, if you think the trade market will be more fragmented than it was before. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe the situation of COVID and mainly the zero tolerance COVID-19 policy in China is giving us a view, a point of view that um, I would say two sides. One is, well, let's think about in China. China is worried about their population. They are trying to have some measurements for security, and security on what? Health, yes. Economy. So far, I can see that there are so many markets that have been closed so far because Like the World Health Organization said on Tuesday, China's zero tolerance COVID policy is not sustainable given what is now known of the virus. In rare public comments by the UN agency on a government handling of the pandemic. So China is the only country where we can see China totally closed when others have totally opened. Seeing all the situations that are already known about the COVID and the economy, who has been defeated, trying to raise among all these situations and bad situations that we have been facing for these 2 years. So, unfortunately, we could see that if China closes their market, we know that it's practically impossible all over the world economic work because China is trying to give us, I can see kind of a quote like, if we open, you are going to earn money. If we are closed, you are not. Because there is a kind of interdependence among the countries. We already know about that. It is healthy. But at the same time, if you have a huge level of dependency, it's not good at all. And China, for example, it's needed every day, every single day, for ships going out to somewhere in the world to go to China, to their ports, to feed the population. And mainly one or two of these ships come from Brazil. And now they are closed. So we are not in situations to sell to China as well. And another situation that we see is okay, it looks like the first war from the coffee revolution that we had in Brazil a long, long time ago. And seeing that when the world is in war, and I have to say that COVID is kind of if we are in war, we need to feed us, we need to make our economy to develop, to walk on. So how? So we cannot be so dependent on each other. So we have to develop inside our lands. That's why I have to call here exactly what you point out. We need to understand our strengths, our weaknesses, and produce exactly from our strengths what is possible for us to make the market to walk on, to work with. For example, here in Campo Grande today, we could see Campo Grande and Mato Grosso do Sul has developed 10% more economically, something that has never happened so far. A long time ago it happened, but no so far. And today we had beat that. Brazil has increased 1% of the GPD, right? And this is something that calls exactly that you don't need to be that dependent to other countries. We're totally able to increase, develop, understand, learn from others, and then develop technology, sustainability inside your lanes. So I can see here in Brazil, there are most of the states, I have to say, I'm concerned about what they have in their strengths and how they can develop that much better than they have so far. So it's something that makes China look exactly how we are dealing with this hard situation and check that, well, we don't need you, China, that much. You really need us. The world needs China, not just China needs all over the world. So the dependency is needed, but the interdependency cannot be that much. So it's time to get out from our comfort zone, economically speaking, and do something with that. And I see there is a huge opportunity because most of the situations is everybody grow up when there is something hard happening, right? And this is exactly what we are facing.
Okay, that's a good point of view. I think that China tried to teach everybody a lesson at the same time, and fortunately for us, they won't be able to because the world is truly dependent a lot on China. True, that's true.
Mhm.
Everybody's facing the lack of support. Everybody's facing inflation. Everybody's facing a very big scenario that no one thought about 4 years ago. That's correct. But 4 years ago, we were all very calm down, very quiet, and very happy on what was being drawn on the commercial. We were in a very good web of trade. Everybody was happy because we are in a predictable world where we know whom to sell, from whom to buy, and where to go to. So China did a very great plan and a great effort to absorb at least half of the world's economy. That's correct. What China didn't count is that they have an inner problem that nobody's talking about, and it's very important. Whoever works in trade knows that you don't pay your suppliers all at once. You need your goods to be shipped out to pay the most of the cargo. What's happening now is that the money is not arriving as well. So we are not paying for the cargo that are not being shipped. This is surely creating a huge backlog of money as well. So first we had problems to have our cargoes being produced. Later on we have our cargoes not being delivered on schedule. Later on the vessels are not being able to fulfill their capacity plan. So this is creating a huge domino effect. And this is creating a lack of trade that no one was counting at. So this is the perfect opportunity, not only for Brazil, but for any developing country. We can find a better position. You say the central Brazilian area grow 10%, correct? But we still depend a lot on commodities yet. And maybe this is our time to build an industrial park again. This is opportunity to go to the United States, to go to the Central America, to go to other places of the world and build up new chains of commerce and new forms of supplying. So it's a lack of items and a huge economic depression that is maybe approaching that will teach us how to work on. And to fulfill this plan, also Putin goes and attack Ukraine. So we still lose a huge area of commerce and trade and also of commodity production. And people automatically say when Russia strikes Ukraine and the world goes after Putin and put Russia outside our commerce trade and chains, they say, oh, China will be happily absorbing Russia trade. But it's not simple as that. China is not rich enough to support Russia like this. So, despite Russia being a huge military country and a huge arsenal behind them, there's not enough money to support one country dependency on another. One thing is China supporting North Korea, smaller, simpler, and a buffer state. Other thing is Russia, huge one, which only has commodities to go away. So we need to think about what is China's direction from now on. And the COVID zero policy already showed itself problematic, already showed itself not being able to get done, which makes me think why is Xi Jinping pushing a lot for that? He's still imposing lockdown. Shanghai is already opening up, but we have a lot of areas in China which are closing down. What's behind this strategy? And the first thing that comes to my mind is that China doesn't have enough supplies to open its market again. So they are imposing blocks on new visas. People are not being able to travel abroad. People are not being able to go to the supermarket spending how much they want. They have financial control. They have motion control in whatever big cities they are. So, what do you think is behind this COVID, this zero policy COVID? Do you also think this is a supplier problem? Do you think there's a food matter? What do you think? It's just about control? How do you see this?
Luis, I totally believe that the reason is not just something isolated. I can see there is a very interesting pack of reasons for the government to act like this. And as you know, China is not that open country that we know. And all what I have to tell you, and I can tell you, is studies and knowing about history, the Chinese history, and how they have been behaving facing COVID and trying to sustain this COVID policy with zero tolerance, which is not working, and worldwide has been asking, mailing to the foreign ministry, Zhao Lijian, and who's been facing some very hard questions from all over the world since May this year, when he was questioned about all the situations that Chinese has developed inside, how it has given impacts for the population, their health situation, economic situation, for sure, how it's going to impact to the economic year worldwide, because we have been facing these things. It has to be sad and very well clear that not only Brazil is facing bad days, economically, healthy speaking, it's something that is happening worldwide. So we are not an exception, okay? So everything is happening very fast, not good things, many bad things are happening. And I believe nowadays, because of the communication means, things are running that fast and very easy. So there is something that China is not enjoying a lot. And I believe that is much about ego. There is a lot about ego because they already talk about the dynasties. So kind of imperialism. There is another tone of power on the words and posture positions of their governments. So imagine the Chinese party has more than 1 million people in it. Can you imagine just one party with 1 million people? What they think has to be exactly what the leader wants them to think. It's not like us. And sometimes most of the people think, well, Brazil has lots of leaders and lots of parties, everybody thinking differently. That's not that good. I have to tell you that it's not good and it is all good in both situations, because China works well this way, but their way to work is not essential, is not possible to many other countries, because we are talking about different cultures and it has to be respect. But when we are talking about cargo vessel shippings and all the commerce that we have to think about, and the crashing on the market, I believe we have a lot to learn from China, and China has a lot to learn from how the world is going to work without China needs, right? And for example, something very interesting is happening since 2016. In 2016, Brazil was thinking about how to improve the ports, because all of them are full. So we have to make better logistics. We have to make good flows and this way the market can work better and flows with it, giving and receiving. And at that time, I was working at an organization here in Brazil, mainly in Mato Grosso do Sul, and I received a paper from the Foreign Affairs Minister, and he was trying to develop the Bioceanic Route. And I was talking to him exactly about the idea, which was to happen. And nowadays, you can see that the things are happening and very fast. It's becoming true. So many people already know worldwide about the transoceanic route, which is about Asia coming to the South America through the Pacific, not from the Atlantic Ocean. And the situation, we didn't even think about COVID at that time, not even an idea about so lethal virus, and about all the scenarios that have happening so far. And I was in a meeting with the group, the Asian group, from the East Asia. And I remember China was asking, because China was there. And I remember China asking, okay, they didn't talk in any time. In any time they made questions, in any time they were questioning, nothing like this happened. And then in the afternoon, in the end of the appointments, they raised their hands, and then we gave them the lecture, and they come. Well, we already have all the agribusiness from Brazil. We would like to know, what more do you have to give to us? And this was something that bothered Brazil a lot, mainly because we were planning about the Bioceanic Route, because Bioceanic Route is just known in South America. It's not known worldwide. And Bioceanic Route is a route, a terrestrial, fluvial, and also aerial route that comes from Chile, from two ports, from Iquique and Antofagasta cities. These two ports, they connect on a route through Argentina, Paraguay, and comes to Brazil, exactly here in Mato Grosso do Sul from Porto Murtinho. So Porto Murtinho is the first Brazilian city where we are going to receive all the cargoes coming from Asia and all the cargoes from Brazil to Asia. So the situation is right now how we have to develop our lands, our states. Are we prepared for this? Our services, our products, our expertises, technicians, everything that we have a group that we need to work with it. Are we prepared? Is the economic prepared? So, of course not. We are not. But we cannot expect in a very perfect situation for us to develop something to receive like with a very red carpet coming out, right? It's not going to happen. So, exactly in the hard situations is the perfect situation, perfect moment for you to develop the best things ever, things that you have never imagined happening. We are taking place very fast, right? Something that you thought, oh, I believe it's going to work in 10 years. No, it's for now, right now. So we are taking this time and putting right now and working on it right now. So I've seen a very, very hard and powerful work, logistically speaking, the infrastructure of Brazil and other countries that we have this partnership in construction and with the same and similar parallel dialogue about the social, political, and economic issues that we all have, is something brilliant. So things are developing a lot. And the Bioceanic Route is going to receive from all Asia and from the west of the United States. So it's a route that is going to last less than 12 days from the whole time it was taken from a ship from Asia, for example, going into our ports in Atlantic Ocean, right? So it's going to last less 12 days of journey, right? And we are going to save an amount of about $800 per day and per container. So that's an amazing thing that happens to the, the economy for us when we try to put quality time and money at the same picture, right? And doing that perfectly, working with that perfectly. So we have something to develop right now that we are very inserted, we are very concerned to improve all this new field that we have for the market, for export and import, logistically speaking, that I can see Brazil is not that in concern about China anymore as we were used to many other years. As we can say, most of the time we were traveling to other countries, making meetings and shaking hands, working on some papers, and done. And Brazil is wow, what they already know about Brazil. Nowadays, we are not going to these countries. We are not shaking hands anymore. We are in concerning about people and countries closing themselves. Others have resistances about opening themselves. Others that don't care. Let's make it work because our economy is fading. And we can see that Brazil is working on seeing the inner of the country, how we can develop to attend our necessities with the other countries that are not that close to us and really need about this interdependency, but in a healthy way.
Good. We'll talk more about the Bioceanic Route in a few. I have a question here. I would like to answer that. Do you believe that is more beneficial to China thinking in a lockdown as a commercial strategy and open the opportunity to the world to see that we can live without them? I don't think so. That's why I don't think it's a commercial strategy. I think this was a strategy adopted by Xi Jinping to show more power because he's already known to be one of the most powerful leaders in China in a very long decade of soft powering and soft establishment there. Xi Jinping is one of the most efficient in using force by any ways in any time. Since 2007, for example, China make a lot of incursions in the China Sea, the Vietnam coast, and such. And Xi Jinping took these numbers to a new level. So I think the zero COVID policy is more related to an internal Chinese context than the commerce one. But I also think this commercial strategy they gave us, believing or not, or wanting or not, must give us the opportunity to look ahead, to look for alternatives, to look for another point of view. I think China didn't want this much to happen, didn't believe themselves that so many countries would be involved in the same time. Nobody believed that Putin was going to attack Ukraine like he did. And once he did that, he changed all the strategy worldwide. And if we look to the map, we can see that Russia borders in Eurasia is also a Chinese influence area. So we can't dismiss this point of view. We don't need to think that China and Russia are close friends. They are mostly allies. And international relations is very simple to define that. Alliances are temporary commitments.
Sure.
They are not friendship. They are not bonding them together for years ahead. They're just allies. So, and allies are very simply made and very simply broken. And when she goes next and says, living not so good, but live, and sure, looking for new sources. How good is Lacuna that they gave us? This gap is a strategic gap for us, I'm sure. And I'm sure that at this moment now, there is a lot of countries and a lot of industries and a lot of people thinking about how they will make to not depend so much on China anymore. If we depend on five components from China, we will depend on one. The other four will be split between India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand. We can go elsewhere. This is the gap China gave us. Everybody knows that to develop a new supplier, new industries, and new infrastructure takes a lot of time. But China catalyzed this process. And I think the Bioceanic Route comes to this. It's a catalyst.
Yeah,
And
I
here,
believe it. Sorry, Liz.
no, no problem. Here's a question for you.
Oh, how much do you trust that Brazil will take this opportunity to grow up? They are our internal market, our industries. Well, it's very hard to measure this idea, but once that we thought about um, our industries and our market growing up in a scenario like this that was expecting um, 2030, 2035, things miraculously happening in Brazil. I believe things, for example, the Bioceanic Route, which was something only on the paper since 2016, and it was expected to be launched around 2025. I have to tell you that 70 to 80% of this total route is already completed. So I believe the effort is going to come from the the entrepreneurs developing their markets, their services mainly, because the idea is that if in Mato Grosso do Sul, Brazil, is not going to take place exactly what we have to develop here in our services industries on the market, another is going to do this, and it's not going to be expected from Brazilian people. It's going to be from another Chinese or another North American or something like that. So it's something that is not just an issue for Mato Grosso do Sul, but exactly what she brought up here is something about Brazil. So I believe that more than ever, we have to be concerned about internationalization, because internationalizing ourselves, not going abroad, but it's already needed to receive from abroad, you know. You don't have to think about internationalization of your services, your products, your restaurant or your clothing store, something like this. Thinking about other countries are coming. So I believe another countries are going to virtualize from China. They are going to get another routes, and Brazil is, I can see, is a very fertile land where full of opportunities, full of power from the money, from the foreign money, receiving these opportunities. So once these another entrepreneurs markets come to Brazil because of mainly the Bioceanic Route, it's going to force us to be at the same level or better, because worse than that, exactly how we are not going to survive. So you have to push a lot about your business, and it's going to get better. It's something that is going to level up your business, or you can decide to still keep on the way you are, exactly working as you are, and for sure you're going to be step over, and uh, China already saw that. I totally agree with you when you disagree about, oh, it was something um, strategically thought, and they are doing exactly what they have been doing, and they are receiving exactly what they are receiving as a result of their actions. Yes, I disagree with the idea, but I also believe that there was another strategic, um, social, political, and economical subject on their folders. And I believe this also got huge and not as the size that they thought. And it's not in under control as they thought it will be. And they are seeing, facing right now, exactly all the bad movements, the economical and the health situations on their population is happening. I can see that through the groups that I've been, and clients and friends that are living in China. They also tell me about exactly what's going on, and China could see that they need another ways, another routes for growing interests. And all I know, for example, this morning, China has long had its eye on the Pacific Island. I don't know if you know about it, Luis, I believe so, where it has been steadily growing its trade, aid, diplomatic, and also the commercial activities since 2006. And between then and 2017, yes, Beijing provided close to $1.5 billion in foreign aid to region through a mixture of grants and loans, according to the Lowy Institute. Yes, Lowy Institute. And the expert says various factors ruin China's interests because they already know the traditional Occidental countries, they already have that stain, a not very good stain about China. So China had to get another courses of how they have to work for their economies to raise up all the situations that they created inside and came out under control. So, historically, in time of conflict, the Pacific has been geographically significant because of the ability to control supply and access, right? And winning influences of the Pacific, it also means you have a region bloc that kind of may be more sympathetic to your positions on issues that are decided in international spaces. So, China is right now ignoring most of the biggest Occidental countries and looking just to the Pacific Islands towards China. So, recently, yesterday, for example, China's Pacific interests have increasingly sparking concern in Australia, which has traditionally considered the Pacific to be its backyard. Can you imagine? So China has another backyard, not only Brazil, they have Australia. And Australia sent its newly appointed foreign minister, which is Penny Wong, to the Pacific last week. So China signed a security pact with the Solomon Island. So what kind of security pact? We didn't have how to see what kind of security China is talking about, right? And last week, for example, Australia's foreign minister, like Penny, visited Fiji, coinciding with Mr. Trip. Mr. E is the Minister of External Foreign Affairs, a sign of a growing competition between the two countries. So China is targeting Australia right now and other Pacific islands so far, and trying at the same time settle down the situations with mainly with United States and Brazil, which we have seasonable crop rotation with soybeans, for example, which is something that is well needed from China, for example. And China is trying to settle down a little bit, with the dust and looking for another settings, another policies, another signatures for security, economy, with the foreign affairs in this situation. So far, I can see that China recognizes that they have committed some mistakes, not some mistakes to other countries, but mainly to themselves. And I believe the way they are moving is the answer, because you're not going to receive these words from the foreign affairs or Xi Jinping's lips, something about it. Oh, we made some mistakes. So sorry, population. No, you will never do this. The idea of security here and the pacts of security that China is looking for with the Pacific Islands is something that the world should be concerned and should look very close to it.
Yeah, when you talk about the islands, I remember one specifically that it comes to my mind just now. That is Taiwan. So let's talk about a little Taiwan. So China made five major incursions in Taiwanese airspace in the past 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and every time a dictatorship strangles their own people and they strangles the information, strangles the foreign access, strangles their people to go abroad, it starts concerning that some movement, a harsh one, is coming. And probably the Taiwan Strait is the next target. As Biden warned Xi Jinping that he would defend Taiwan, nobody believes that. And this is another problem because to defend Taiwan, to support them against China means a huge war, which will involve Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, Australia, and the whole East Asia itself. So nothing better than to give some support and to get some love from the islands around and try to position themselves in a better way. I hope that Taiwan is not the central conflict here because it would be crazy for everyone. And even we don't think Taiwan is that close, it's very close for for our reality now because a conflict in Asia means a conflict worldwide spread. So when we talk about the Taiwan Strait, one simple thing comes to my mind that is the Japanese position. I would like to involve Japan here because a long time ago, after two major nuclear blasts, the Japanese forces were tackled down and the United States took their defense on their umbrella. So let's call the United States umbrella of defense the whole East Asia countries. Today, 2012, 2022, sorry, I don't think there's any condition that the United States keep themselves defending these whole countries against the powerful China. But when we say powerful China, we mean regional power, not global power. And this is another confusion people makes. People tends to confuse economic power with military power. And despite Chinese growth, despite the Chinese very big investments in defense that nobody knows how much because it's a dictatorship, but we can assume it's a huge investment. It is far too long from being what the United States already are today. This is important to keep in mind because China is not a fully developed country. They can't bear the costs of a huge conflict. They will try to avoid conflict. They built their commercial trade in the past 5 or 6 decades since 1949 when Mao took the revolution. Later on, Deng Xiaoping brought the sign, the direction of economic growth despite all other things. Given the situation, I don't think Chinese will engage in conflict. I don't think they will see conflict as a measure. But the thing is, inner population inside Taiwan supports this initiative. So China is winning the propaganda war. No analyst 3 years ago would believe that China would assume this kind of policy. We all think that Chinese government goes around with their pragmatic posture and decisions taken in a well cost benefit analysis, looking forward 10 years ahead the others. And this is not what we are seeing. We are seeing they are humans, after all. We are seeing they make mistakes. And mistakes costs a lot. So the best way to stop China is to bomb economic effects. And I think everybody understood that now. Every industry that is being held empty in their warehouses because their cargoes are not arriving understood that. Every country that is facing inflation, and I believe all countries are today, understood that. So to answer Renata and to complement your reply, I believe that the Chinese bomb is not a nuclear one, it's an economic one. And I think we finally got that. We finally have a chance here to not only go ahead of this problem, but to build a new reality for us. And Brazil has this condition, not because its size, not because the Bioceanic Route or the ports they have today, but because we are a very strong consuming market. And this is one thing we all forget sometimes. If we produce food, we have people to eat, but we also can produce technology. We have case studies here, and Renata can help us, you can help us, because we have a lot of examples of industries, we have a lot of examples in Latin America that are good examples that show that we don't need the China dependency. We can't rely 100% on anywhere else. This is the main lesson the zero COVID policy took us. Because now we open up the papers and we see the monkeypox. Later on, we will see some else diseases, and it seems that is government control people want, because this is taking away the responsibility of thinking about solutions. So the West has one thing that the East won't have, that is freedom of thinking, freedom of speech, freedom of positioning. And we should enjoy that, because the videos we are seeing coming from China are sad ones, are strong ones. And the message is very simple. If the end justify the means, you are on the wrong side of the story. This is the position I want to take to finish the discussion, because I know we have 1 hour. So we already have 15 minutes.
Yeah, Luis, if we take part of all the situations that are occurred in the oriental part of our planet, yes, we go very far here, mainly with monkeypox, for example. And if we raise here the discussion about, and I believe it could happen another live here, mainly talking about monkeypox. And I would like to maybe put another bomb here, that monkeypox and the situation with the economy in China is something very inconvenient. And you can think about so many ways on how convenient it is. But when you have a very different culture and don't know exactly what is the taste of power, I believe our civil citizens cannot imagine, not even our worst dreams, a huge nightmare, how capable some powers can defeat your own population in to have the result that they expect. So since then, we have been facing a bomb of a political bomb. China has the power to take Taiwan. I believe so. Russia has the military power, but China has the economical power. They think similar. So they are very nice partners for each other, which is not good for all over the world. I don't think world is going to explode again in another war because even those who can have the part of this initiative, they have ideas on what and how the size can get economically, socially speaking. So this is a training, I guess, which is happen what is happening in China. So it's something that didn't work exactly how they would like. So I believe the things are going to get weaker here. And sometimes just some kind of talks, parallel conversations, some news, some other conspirations maybe are going to be aroused. Meanwhile, I guess the things are getting better. China is already in concern about how they're going to eat the next months for sure.
Yeah, we hope for the best. I think
Hopefully.
we all here hope for the best because nobody wins in war. And I understand that in a Brazilian side, we lost for so much time already. So it's time to have some wins. It's time to have some conquers. And I think now it's the perfect timing for that. So, behind the Chinese zero COVID policy and its endless lockdowns, which were the subject of this live, I don't care. I care for the effects, and the effects shows that we can take advantage of that. And there is no vacuum in the world. Every time we see vacuum, somebody fulfills that. So I would like that Brazil fulfills at least some part of that. I hope that becomes reality very soon. And I would like to thank you very much for your time and patience in this experience because this was a good experience for me. It's honor for me to host this live in my channel because unthinkable some months ago, and now it became a very good thing that we can speak in English, we can talk, and we have a good audience participating in that as well. Very strong audience participating, as Renata is known for us as incredible woman developing business elsewhere. So nothing to say on that. Just thank you very much for your time and patience.
Well, Luis, thank you so much for the invitation. I also thank you for being confident about my work and my thoughts and the sites that could be possible being arised here. And also, I'd like to thank you, Renata, so much for everything you have been developing in this conversation here, which is very important. Seeing people in the area worried about the next steps and how we can protect themselves at the same time acting against all of these interdependency among the dance of the countries, as we say in international relations. So thank you so much, Liz.
My pleasure. Have a nice day, everybody, and wish to see you all soon.